Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this quick Generation 1 figure showcase and review, we're going to be looking at the 1989. This is one of the micromaster transports, and this is of course Roughstuff. So what we're going to do, and have a quick look at him in both of his modes, help you decide how you want to display him. Because he's vintage, I'm going to point out a few things that you need to be aware of if you're after one for yourself. I'm going to show you him with his other micromaster transports, and of course, because I'm lucky enough to have one in the packaging, we can have a look at the artwork on that as well. Now before we get started, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, if you'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now please, because it really will help me out. So this guy came out in 1989, and I've got to confess I didn't have this as a child. My sort of interest in these was slowly sort of dwindling. One of the micromaster transports that I did have was flat top. I found this one to be a little bit more interesting. Funnily enough, these two are both Decepticons. There were two other Autobots as well, which we'll have a look at in a second. But before we do that, we're going to have a look at him himself. Now he's pretty basic, to be honest, as pretty much, if we're being honest, all of the micromaster figures did end up being basic by the time we got around to these. I still enjoyed them, and I totally understand why they did it. I think anybody who remembers, there was another toy line called Micro Machines at the time, which was super popular, so I suppose it sort of crossed into that bracket as well. So this is the alternate mode, which is some sort of transport, but it does genuinely just look, as it says in TF Wiki, like a folded up jet. You can clearly tell that's the wings, and probably tell that's the nose cone. Now because it's vintage, you need to be aware of the wheels. As you can see with mine, unfortunately there is a little bit of corrosion there. With regards to accessories, he just comes with these giant missiles, which we'll have a look at in a bit more detail in a second. As well as this being chrome, you can see that this is also metal, and I've seen incidences of these where it's just basically completely corroded and seized up, and unfortunately somebody's tried to fold the wings out and it's just snapped. So there is something to be aware of. As I said, the two Decepticons were flat top and Roughstuff, and then we had, and I always forget their names, I think it's Overload, and of course we'll never forget Erector's name, because there he is. One interesting thing that I did try to do before I started the video: you cannot use any one of these to pull him along. This has got a completely different connector on the front, whereas this one's pretty much exactly the same connector, but his toes do get in the way. So it's only his cab which can indeed pull that particular transport along. With regards to some of today's figures, to give you an idea of how big he is, that's quite a small deluxe there. I've got a few other small deluxe figures here as well. I do have a few bigger figures as well, but I think for obvious reasons, there's no point really showing them. I mean, that's a Combiner Wars Constructicon, which you can make out there. With regards to some of today's figures, which might give you a better idea of his size, there is one of the Micromasters. That's an actual G1 Micromaster, which again, they can all work and play together as a set, in honesty. This is Thundercracker, which of course is the core class, and then we'll have a quick look at a deluxe class as well. So yeah, I suppose it's about the same sort of size-ish, or maybe same sort of plastic as a deluxe class figure. I'm not too sure. Right, before we do the transformation, let's have a quick look at the packaging. The packaging is nice and simple. It was just a bubble on a card. That's why most of these are quite difficult to find sealed. To be fair, I'm really lucky with this one. On the back, we've got the normal, we've got the tech spec with the copyright underneath. And as I say, I don't normally do the transformation processes, but because this is basically as simple as you can see on the back, I think it's probably only right that we do it. So let's have a quick look at the cab first and foremost. We're just going to very simply fold the legs up. I hate doing G1 transformations because they're so stiff. That is something to be aware of as well, of course, because that could corrode. We can lift the head up, we can lift the arms up. These look to be the same as the Headmasters. Now for those of you who collect Generation 1 Headmaster figures, you'll probably be aware that you need to be super vigilant with that. Again, corrosion on the screw and articulation. We've just got the arms. I suppose you can say that he can kick forward, and you can also say that one of the figures, well, not many Generation 1 figures can actually look down, but he can, but that is of course only for transformation. And yes, that is indeed the whole front cab of him just hanging off the back of him. With regards to the actual transport, if we open up, oh man, see what I mean? If we open up this is why I haven't done as many Generation 1 figures reviews as much as normal, because I'm genuinely panicking I'm going to break them. So we fold that out. This bit comes off. So parts to be aware of if you're looking for a complete one. These are loose. So there's them. You'll see these actually are quite common, to be fair. I've seen quite a lot of these in bundles, genuinely, where people don't really know what they are. So initially that was at the back there, but what you can do is you can lift this up, you can bring this to the front, and what you've now got is, of course, a platform for him to control and indeed manipulate. So it pretty much is a jet. That is pretty much all there was to do with him. A couple of other figures just to give you an idea of size. That is, of course, Commander class Optimus. That is a Blockies Rumble figure, which is quite small as well. But in all honesty, I really don't think there's probably much more to say about him. You can see he's nice and basic. He's a lot of fun though, and that's what a lot of Generation 1 figures were, and that's why, you know, we had our imaginations to be able to, I suppose, cope with the really basic figures that they were. Now it also looks, to be honest, that is missing. According to that, oh no, it's not. Yeah, it's just the picture. It's lifting. It's something lifting up. Maybe I am missing something off that. I'm missing something off there. There is a bar for him to hold on. Damn, I'm gonna have to upgrade mine, but there you go. This is my Decepticon rough stuff, and it looks like I need to find another one. But in the meantime then, guys, this was him. Let me know what you think of him in the comments. Thanks for watching. Take care.